Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Buddies on Buddies, the show with two real life buddies talking about buddy action comedy movies. I'm Kenny Lane.
I'm Lucas Hill.
It's
We're
our show
buddies on
again.
buddies, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what you drinking there, Lucas?
Oh, you came around to the fucking segment, huh? Last time you were like,
Yeah.
why do we have to say what we're drinking? Blah blah blah. I'm
Mhm.
drinking Weekend Vibes, Coronado beer. Yes, sir. What are you?
Sweet. I'm drinking Bonsai, sparkling water beverage, blackberry lime, made with real blackberry juice.
Someone's going dry. What happened?
Shit went down, man. Everything's falling apart. I had to fucking get on the wagon. No, I've just been trying to cut back. This year, I've actually drank less than I have. I don't know, in the middle, 20 years or something. Like I started with a dry January, and I've been trying to kind of back off the weekend or the weekday drinking and doing all that stuff. So I really haven't been drinking that much this year, but do it occasionally, like to throw in back and see what happens. But yeah, I just not really felt up. I think I'm getting sick again, which sucks. It's like my third time or fourth time in like 6 months.
COVID?
I think it's COVID. I got COVID back in December again, like my second time getting it, and then I've had like different issues, different getting sick. But it's like usually I don't get sick at all. I get like once a year maybe. So it's starting to, if I'm getting sick again, it's starting to concern me if I'm like 3 times or 4 times in like 6 months.
Well, you know what they say that COVID can really do a number on your immune system. So people are getting weird things that they didn't get before.
Well,
So
maybe.
could be why you're getting sick
I'm
more.
not a doctor. Yeah, but I know
That's
this
not,
is annoying
hey,
though, getting sick so
hey,
much.
Kenny, that's not true.
You are a doctor in your heart. You tell people, let them know online. I am a doctor, God damn it. Scientist, doctor, lawyer, all of it.
Have you been hanging out with a lot of kids lately or anything like that?
No, why would I be hanging out with kids?
I don't know. You just said you were playing basketball with your nephew.
That was off air. We hit record, but I was telling Lucas off air about my nephew is playing basketball, but he doesn't know when things start or stop. So yeah, I was playing basketball with my nephews a little while ago. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm the bad guy. I didn't know that playing basketball with your nephew shouldn't be on air.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's fine to say it on here, but you didn't realize we were talking about this off air, and then you brought it in, so I didn't know what the hell you were
Do I
talking
do
about.
I look like Walker Cronkite? I can't even say his fucking name.
Oh man, you're a mess.
You need to quit drinking.
Yeah. So you're talking about Bitcoin, right? Go keep going. What
Go over
the
the
fuck are you talking
Bitcoin
about?
thing. Nah, I was interested.
Yeah.
That's good. How have you been outside of the illness? And then not
Not too bad, guys. You can see the background's a little different. It's nothing because Meg and I just moved on to our new place in Long Beach, Washington, and nothing's up, nothing's happening. Very got the bare bones going on, but we like our new place. Seems kind of cozy and nice, and yeah,
do you like the new place?
I do. Yeah, it's a lot more space this time, so that's good.
Do you miss your wall of tools?
Since I never actually touched any of those tools, I don't really miss them because I don't know what any of them do. So it's fine.
You know what a couple of them do.
I think the thing with the round one with the stick does something like it makes a building or something. I don't know.
That's how it works. You got it.
Yeah, yeah. How about you? What have you been up to?
Just working a lot.
You're working a job?
My old job, the job I've always had.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I've just been trying to hunker down and make because we're going to San Diego to house sit for like a month in July. So I'm really trying to pack some money in before that happens.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Yeah. How long has it been gone? Like 3 weeks or something?
Yeah, no, almost like 4 weeks. It's going to be a
Wow.
full month. Yeah, which is
See,
great.
it's like a San Diego vacation, man.
That's how I'm trying to view it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be great. Or I might not go at all. You never know.
Just say fuck it. We're staying here. It's too much to deal with all that crap.
It's hard to leave, even if it's Phoenix in the height of summer. It's hard to leave your place for a full month.
It's hard to leave your place in Phoenix for a full month and
Leave your place anywhere, even if you're in Phoenix. Like, oh, I'm just gonna fuck off for a month. You want to go back home at some point.
At some point, yeah. I mean, Phoenix though is pretty brutal during the summertime. I mean, I know you grew up there and stuff, but or went to high school and stuff there, but and I lived there for a while. But how is it kind of moving back to the heat and stuff? Is that like are you adapting to it pretty fast or?
For me, I'm adapting to it pretty fast. Like we were playing golf and it was like 104. I'm like, everyone's like, it's getting too hot. We got to skip some holes. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? It's not bad at all. So for some reason, like maybe it's just because it's a little more ingrained in my DNA or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
But it's my wife's first year here, married, so she's taking a little longer, but
Yeah.
she's doing well. It's the scorpions. That's what she doesn't like.
You still on that Scorpion Hunter kick
Yeah.
from like a couple weeks ago? Wow. How's
Yeah.
that going?
It's going well. They haven't been inside the house. They're getting less and less. So I think it's just the previous owners weren't doing that. This is boring. No one cares about scorpions. Look, scorpions suck.
I think maybe we should skip the whole segment where we talk about our lives because it's pretty boring and stupid. And I don't think anyone cares.
It was your idea. You're like, no, we have to humanize ourselves. It's like Howard Stern. It's like how all radio.
I don't remember saying any of that. I remember saying we get to the good stuff. We do nothing but good, interesting things. And you're like, no, I want to put on bullshit. And I was like, why would we put on bullshit, Lucas? And you're like, because everyone loves bullshit, stupid shit.
We're like the Coke dealer cutting up lines, going, "So how you doing?" Yeah, so, yeah, I'm good. Can I get to that fucking thing? Relax, man. So what's been going on?
Yeah, just get to the fucking crap of the shit we're talking about.
Get to the.
Well, I guess what are we talking about this week?
We're talking about Pure Luck. It's a Martin Short vehicle that also stars Danny Glover.
Mhm.
It was made.
Yeah, 1991, Universal Pictures release. Yeah, it's our first Martin Short movie I think we've covered. Although Danny Glover, of course, from the Lethal Weapon movies that were flying high right around this time.
Before we get to that, because I do have a lot to talk about it, have you seen anything that you want to talk about outside of the movie that is the subject of our forthcoming conversation?
Yes, we got it. We'll get this someday.
I brought it in. I always bring the Broncos in.
Yeah, we haven't been to the movies. We usually go like once a week, almost. To the movie Megan and I do here. But it was coming back from the beach last weekend, and Inside Out 2 was playing, and we were thinking about it. Like I heard it's good, and I like the first one, but we got back from the beach, and it starts in 20 minutes. Should we rally? And I was like, I don't feel like rallying for Inside Out 2. If it was Beverly Hills Cop 4, probably, but I was like, I'm not going to do it. So I didn't go to the movies recently. I did watch 2 Netflix recent documentaries on there. I watched the Gene Wilder one. I think it's called Being Wilder or something like that. That was good. It's kind of a nice tribute to Gene Wilder, but it's kind of like a hagiography. It's one of those Irish worships its subject.
Yeah.
But I did see a really good one that I wanted to recommend to you guys, which is called "Tell Them You Love Me." And I don't want to really. It's what you best go in blind to this one, but yeah, it's a good one.
Tell them you love me. Let me write it down. Tell them you love me.
Yeah. Megan had it on. I didn't see the thumbnail. I didn't see anything about it, and she fell asleep. And then when she woke up, right, was kind of over, and she was like, "How was it?" I was like, "That was great. That was a great film."
Yeah, I haven't watched much either. We caught up on House of Dragons. We watched the first season.
Yeah.
Leading into the next season. So that was
you liked it as much as Game of Thrones?
Yeah, it's Game of Thrones. I'm glad we watched the first season because I didn't remember fucking 80%.
Do you like it as much as Game of Thrones?
Oh no, Game of Thrones is better. This is much more contained, and Game of Thrones has better characters. Oh. But if you like that world, it's tonally it's like pitch perfect. But Game of Thrones is way better characters. It's a grander scale. This is like one house. I don't know. It's still good. I still suggest it if you like Game of Thrones. But yeah, nothing really else to report that I can think of. Well, I finished Of All Mankind, caught up to that. You ever watched Of All Mankind?
Of All Mankind? No, I haven't seen that one.
It's the Ronald Moore show who did Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I also did that fucking Outlander show that I was tortured with. So fuck Ronald Moore. I don't want to see any of his shit ever again.
I never watched that, but it's a great concept. It's if Russia won the space race.
Okay.
It's the moon first, so then everybody pushes all their, the space. Everybody pushes all their money into space. So by the early 2000s, we're already on Mars and stuff. It's really interesting.
Kind of like that Man in the High Castle thing of like, what if the Japanese and the Nazis had won World War II? Kind of thing.
It's kind of like that, just with the space race. It's good stuff. I suggest it.
Okay.
What I like about it is like every season they jump wildly like several years in the future. So you're like, oh, I'm invested in this storyline. It's like boom, 5 years later, and then like it does a needle drop every time for the
Uh,
music of that era. And you're like, oh, whoa, we're in a different era. You would
uh,
appreciate that. Other than that, you're not going to like the show.
of all mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For all mankind. Sorry, that's
For all mankind.
yeah.
TV shows are such an investment, though. It's like this is going to be hours and hours and hours. It's like I don't know. I pretty much don't like most things, and I regret giving any time to shows when I stop liking them, or they get canceled, or they start the writing gets bad. So I don't think I ever want to watch a TV show ever again.
And there's so many great TV shows. Like I
Are
got my
there?
TV shows. I can't really take it as like, hey, you know what you should watch? Shut the fuck up. I cannot listen to you right now. I am watching my little, and I'm not even going to watch all these. So I can't take anything else right now.
You hate that or you love that?
What do I hate?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
When people suggest shows to you.
Yeah, yeah. Because
You
like
already
I'm not
have
gonna.
all these unfinished, uneaten meals, and like, hey, would you like a pizza? It's like, no, I don't want a pizza.
Yeah, a guy I work with in the kitchen, he's always recommending me like these anime shows and shit, and I'm like, I'm not into anime. I'm not. And he's like, did you see the new one? I'm like, I've told you, like I don't watch any of this shit.
An
So
anime
why
has
would
like
I watch the new one?
3,000 episodes.
Yeah.
Start from the beginning. One
Yeah.
Piece. There's 3,000 episodes.
Oh, wonderful.
I suppose we should get started.
Yeah. All right. Let's get right into it. Pure Luck. All right. What are your kind of general thoughts about Pure Luck,
Well,
Lucas?
should we give the synopsis first?
Oh yeah, sure. We do it. The plot is this is a kind of a high concept kind of thing. So a rich businessman's daughter goes missing in Mexico, and he's trying to find her, and he can't figure it out. No one can find her. So one of the guys he that works for him comes up with the idea, since she happens to be the most unlucky person in the world. There's another guy that works there that's also the most unlucky person in the world, and they'll send him out to find her with a chaperone because somehow they will just their paths will be the same and they'll figure it out because they're both the most unlucky person in the world, and that's pure luck.
Yeah. As you describe it, it reinforces how flimsy the premise and hook is of this.
Yeah. Well, what do you kind of think of it overall?
I surprisingly enjoyed it more than I thought. Like after the first 20 minutes, I was like, and I don't know what this movie, but as I got into it, hey, guilty as charged. I actually
Okay.
kind of appreciated some of the comedic beats, the chemistry, all that. I ultimately enjoyed it. It was really well paced. Surprised that critics hated it as much as they did. I get
Uh-huh.
not liking it, but they fucking eviscerated it.
Uh,
Yeah, I thought it was an enjoyable movie that I would have a hard time recommending to people.
all right. Well, fair enough. Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was fucking terrible. I think all the critics were right. I would you call this movie an action movie? Do you think
There's
it
no
fits that
action. No, there's no action.
Yeah, I wrote down a note like it's been 35 minutes, nothing action. No, there's been no action so far besides maybe Martin Short walking into like a door or something. I think this is always the least amount of action since Partners that we've watched. I don't think this is as bad as Cop Out, but I would put it down there with some of the worst movies we've done. I think it's just the setup. They took so long with the setup too. I was sick of the setup, them explaining it and going on about it before it even started. So like that's not a good sign. And like they opened with like right over the title like a pratfall, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be one of those kind of movies. It did make me chuckle a couple of times, which is more than a lot of movies do we've seen on this thing. But I thought it was pretty bad, and the talents of like Martin Short and Danny Glover kind of did what they could with it, but it just I thought fell really flat.
And I want to say the reason we did this movie is because Cinefix,
Yeah,
Cinefix, put this as like their number three or whatever on their like top buddy action movies. I was like,
yeah,
this is one of them. So I remember as a childhood, I remember hating it. I was like,
yeah.
well, we have to do this if they put it on like because they just released a video. I don't
A
know
lot of those, I've seen those
what they were
lists
thinking.
popping up a lot, and they have weird, really weird like titles on there, like 5 movies you loved as a kid that are still terrific. And it's like, we're back, a dinosaur story. Fuck, that's on there. It's like number one. So I'm wondering if this is just like AI, like just throwing these things together or doing something, because
Yeah,
these
yeah.
lists
I know
are
you
really,
think AI does everything. It doesn't do everything. Not yet.
it's coming up a lot more than you think. With like a lot of articles, and every newspaper says part of this was written by AI. It's used a lot more than you think. It's not just one thing here or there. It's pretty much it's
Yeah,
spreading
but
out pretty wide.
Cinefix has done some great stuff. They deep dive into movies. They've shown me movies I've never even heard of, and allow
Yeah,
me
but
to
so does
discover things.
but the AV Club, same as they've done a lot of great work. They're already starting to use AI
Maybe
with a lot of stuff
Club's been
now.
done for
So
years. They fired all their like people.
if
They're
I established that they've done great work, doesn't mean things change and they start adapting other things, firing people.
I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to get into the AI discussion again. I'm just sick of it.
Because we both know a lot about it. I'm sure we're experts.
Well, I'm a little bit of an expert, and you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We're doing a Martin Short movie. It's random because he's hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live this week. So he's been doing Glick interviews as Jiminy Glick or whatever.
Jimmy Glick. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you? Do you find Martin Short funny or Jiminy Glick funny?
Well, I have this in my notes actually.
Yeah.
I hated him when I was younger. Now, and I'm going back and watching some of them, a lot of them, like in the last few years,
Yeah.
I find him much funnier. I don't know if it's like an age thing. I don't know. When I was younger, I hated it. It's a guy in a fat suit. It's just so
You're
aggressive.
talking about Jiminy Glick specifically, not Martin Short.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And Martin Short. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
aggressively unfunny. Now I think it's pretty funny.
Okay.
I like it. I think he's funny. He's funnier now to me, older. I don't know why.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I've always kind of liked Martin Short. I remember like Ed Grimley.
He's always likable. I never I hate him.
And I recently watched like Three Amigos, I think Interspace, and I think I even like Captain Ron, even though he's like the straight man in that. So I think he can be funny and he's likable. He's pretty, stuff. And there was that whole like thing like last year, the internet just started asking themselves, since that guy wrote an op-ed in like LA Times, like Martin Short isn't funny. So it got everyone on the internet started asking themselves. But I would say Martin Short's funny, if nothing else for Clifford, where he is frighteningly committed to playing like a 11-year-old boy like the whole time. And it's not I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's great in snippets. I don't know if I can sit through the whole thing, but he's pretty funny. But I don't get, not in this movie, and I don't think he had a lot to work with. I think the problem with the premise is I don't think they really know what luck is. He seems to be just clumsy. Like if you walk into a door or fall down or stick a straw in your nose or something, that's not bad luck. That's just being clumsy.
Yeah, but he also his luggage gets lost.
Yeah, they spread that in, but a lot of the stuff, it just seems like he's just clumsy.
Yeah, but you really fucked up the discussion because you went into one thing and then you sidetracked to another and then you just kept going. Did you watch the debates tonight?
Are they on like right now, or no? I just got off work like 20 minutes ago. I didn't realize that the debates were even happening. Like,
no, they were on more than 2 hours ago.
Okay, well, what'd you think of the debates, Lucas?
Very depressing. Very depressing. Surreal and depressing.
I like how you're like, you just segue right out of that conversation, and that's bullshit. Hey, would you watch the debates? Let's talk about the debates.
You get to like drive through all the fences and stuff, and then I start talking like, stay on the road, Lucas. Stay on the road.
I was talking about Martin Short in this movie. You're like, that's fucked. Martin Short. Hey, Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Let's go into it. Okay, yeah, that's a great fucking straight narrow path.
Look, we'll talk about this later. Hey, Martin Short's very talented. He always is. He's like bigger than life. He's undeniably talented, and he's very funny. And he's like a sneaky roast comic. Like that's what he does. He like roast people.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the movie. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it, man. Yeah, let's do it. Pure luck. You loved it. I hated it. You do your case. I'll do mine.
It was cool to see the sweetheart from Deadwood in it, the miner from Deadwood. You don't watch Deadwood. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Not for a long time. That show's that verbose fucking show. Everyone just talks like fucking on and on and on and on and on. Just kill somebody already. This
little too,
sucks.
little too smart for you, but yeah,
Cerebral for my taste. I like Roy Rogers show. That's my favorite.
but it's cool to see him younger in a movie in a feature like this. He's the American who gets killed off relatively easily.
Oh,
He was the one trying to capture the daughter or whatever.
oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Harry Shearer being in it. Here's the
Yes.
problem:
Okay.
the premise is insane. Like, how are we supposed to believe any of this shit? If they made Harry Shearer like a shaman of sorts, and if he
Uh,
located Martin Short instead of just working for the company outside the company, if he was just some schlub accountant from somewhere else or delivering pizzas and he brings him in, it would give much more credibility to the premise.
it's a hard pill to swallow. It's one of those high concept. I think it sounded good on paper. It's a remake of a French movie that did well. I think it's the second time Martin Short's been in a French remake. But like,
Well, they did Dinners for Schmucks too. You have to Americanize
right? It's just,
stories.
I don't know. It just seems like the premise was just so hard to buy, even for these kind of movies. It was just, I will give a premise. It had a concept, it had a premise, unlike like Cop Out or something that didn't have anything. But yeah, it took so long to set up and get there, and by the time they even got on with it, I was already like sick of it. So yeah, it's a real tough pill to swallow.
I did like how Martin Short wasn't just some goody goody two shoes. He's a pussy hound in this. He's like he's trying to fuck every woman who looks at him.
Well, I mean, he's on vacation, kind of. He's like, he's ready to go. But I don't know. What about like set pieces for this movie? I can't remember really any set pieces. You're always talking about set pieces. I don't. You can. What are some of them besides like being like a bar or something?
Well, there are comedic set pieces. Like he tells him Danny Glover tells him that she's a prostitute.
Yeah.
She's not really into you. Go
Yeah.
tell her to give $50, and he does. And
Yeah.
she beats him up because she's not a prostitute. But then her pimp
Yeah.
comes, which kind of undercuts the
It's
comedy.
her boyfriend, I guess. Yeah.
Or boyfriend, sorry, yeah. And then, so you can call that a comedic set piece. One of my favorite
So
moments
it's
in
not
the movie.
far. I mean, it's not like, okay, this is real different than
I'm
different.
not saying it's fucking high art.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite moments is when he's in the quicksand.
Yeah.
And he's so calm about it, and they're both so calm about it, and they get in this debate as he's in quicksand. He's like, "I'm in quicksand. Yeah, you need to get me out." They have this
Yeah.
relatively calm instead of freaking out or anything like that. They have it. So that was fun. I have more.
Yeah.
The Mexican jail scene is a funny comedic situation.
Okay.
Where Danny Glover keeps getting pulled back to get the shit beat out of him because of stuff Martin Short's saying or not saying. That's a comedic situation,
I guess so. Yeah.
especially when they come back. The first time is fine, but when they come back, they grab him again. It's like, to me, that was pretty funny.
Right. What do you think of like Danny Glover in this movie? Like, what do you think of that? What do you think of the Glove Man?
The Glove Man's always aces in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah, put him at the top of my list. It's Danny Glover. No. It's Gene Hackman, Daniel Day-Lewis, Marty Short, Danny Glover, and then Daniel Lee Jones.
Daniel Lee Jones.
Yeah, Daniel Lee Jones. You got it. All right, what else? I did like the bit where he's going on the plane and he refuses to go on the plane because he thinks they're going to die. That's a nice little comedic set piece.
When does that happen?
So Danny Glover doesn't want to get on the plane because Martin Short's with him.
Yeah.
So he's like, "You can stay if you want." He's like, "Yeah, I will stay." And then he's like, "Okay, cool." And then I'll come back later and we'll get margaritas to the hotel. He's like, "Yeah, goodbye, man," because he knows he's gonna die or thinks he's gonna die, and gives him like this heartfelt goodbye. And Martin Short's confused by it because he doesn't realize that that's where Danny Glover's coming from.
Oh, I don't remember that scene at all. I remember like
what
them
movie
him
did you watch?
I just remember him talking about having delayed flights all the time, and it gets delayed, and then they
No,
move around.
they're getting on the puddle jumpers. Like, well, we'll just fly around.
Oh, the pod towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then Danny Glover's like, goodbye. Like he ends up
Uh,
getting on the plane, which kind of undercuts the whole humor of it. But I
and
thought
then it
that
goes
was
in the
really
big thing
funny.
sequence with them getting all the fat suit comes out, which I
Yeah,
guess
we'll
was
get to
the.
that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But I thought before they go, don't. What are you smoking? It looks like a vibrator.
It's a vape pal, King of Kings. You stop smoking your vape?
My vape doesn't look like a Kings of Kings vibrator though.
Hey, look at that, baby. All right, what were you trying to talk about? We are talking about a scene. You're like, no, we can't talk about that next scene. We got to talk about some other scenes.
Yeah,
So
we'll
what do you
talk
want to
about
talk
the bee sting scene. So like that's like the comedic centerpiece of the movie where he gets stung by a bee, he
about? All right.
blows up, he has an allergic reaction, he's on a plane.
Uh huh.
But I remember that was the scene in the trailer. So and it's probably the
Yeah.
most it's the centerpiece of the movie.
Remembered scene, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So they kind of blew their load in the trailer. Because even as a kid, I remember that from the trailer. And
I think I
them,
remember like getting laughs in the theater, the trailer, that getting like big laughs. I was like, that movie's gonna be funny. Um, yeah, and then I remember watching as a kid, being like, before I even thought any movie was really bad, I thought like that wasn't very good. It's like a 9-year-old or something.
yeah, and then I was like, is this how we got his idea for Jiminy Glick wearing the fat suit? And sure enough, that's exactly where he's like, I want to do more of this, more of this fat suit. I want to make it my identity. Yeah.
Are fat suits funny? Maybe we should talk about that. Like, is that kind of they kind of made fun of that in Tropic Thunder like almost 20 years ago.
Or fat suit's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if I were in one, I'd find it pretty funny. Does the
Yeah.
audience find it funny?
Isn't that fat shaming? Like, look, I'm a fat person now. I'm funny.
What are they going to do? Chase you down?
Yeah, you got the speed, even though you're in a fat suit. You can run away. I'm not even sure what I guess the Jimmy Glick was really like this kind of flamboyant, annoying interviewer that doesn't really know what's going on. I guess if you're a celebrity, you probably Marshall's probably dealt with that type of guy before, but I wasn't really sure what exactly who he's kind of sending up. I guess.
Yeah, I think it's that interviewer when they do press tours, when you're promoting a movie, you sit where you are and then press comes through and interviews you as like the entire press corps and you get exhausted of it. So he's
Yeah.
one of them who's been around, but he doesn't know who anybody is. I think that was the initial like, so what movie are we doing? I don't fucking know. I think that's his initial, but more than that, he's in a fat suit eating donuts.
Donuts asking kind of like those like between two ferns type questions and
Yeah, like
stuff.
who are you and stuff like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Like he was the first between two ferns.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I just didn't really. The character is so like over the top. I just didn't know like what is he? Who is he supposed to be?
I thought it was well paced though. I like there were no slow moments. I thought like especially once they got to the island, it just goes. Or the island, Mexico.
I don't know. I mean, like I was doing that thing like an hour into it. I was pausing it and like, oh, it's got a half hour left, 20 minutes left. I don't know. I was pretty sick of it pretty fast. Danny Glover, I thought like he looks really like he doesn't even want to be in this movie the first half, but then I thought, well, is he just doing that because he's supposed to be kind of like annoyed by this whole setup scenario? And he's a good actor. And then by the end, you do feel like him kind of bonding with Martin Short a little bit. But Martin Short's character too, like even though I like Martin Short and other things, I just found his character just kind of obnoxious and kind of weird in a dumb way. I don't know, or dumb in a weird way or something. And the whole premise was hard to buy, and there was very little action, if hardly any at all. I think I watched the trailer because we were debating if this was an action movie or not. The trailer, I think, made it look like an action movie because they just every punch, which is like three, and like like somebody shooting a gun and a car falling down. But I was like, that's it. And yeah,
Yeah, there's no action. I do think that it's earned when their bond happens. Like I believed it.
yeah.
by the end. Like, I believe these guys are friends.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
I hated it. I don't know. I don't believe they're friends. I didn't buy any of it. I thought
I
this is
did.
fucking stupid. This movie sucks. When is it over?
Jesus.
Uh,
I thought a great bit was when the Jeep's going off the
uh-huh.
end of a cliff,
Yeah.
and Glover gets out and he's like, "Come on, you have to get out." It's like, "Okay." And Short starts gathering his things and takes the keys out.
Yeah.
He's like, "What are you taking the keys? What are you doing?" Get out. He's like, "What do you need the keys for? The Jeep's going over the cliff. Get out of the fucking." That was great and reminded me of my wife.
I just thought of something. I think I'd be more involved if you did like a one man show of pure luck. I would go to it where you're just kind of talking about every scene and kind of acting it out and kind of doing it, and then I think that would actually be better than actually watching the actual movie.
Yeah, I'm not wearing shoes and I walk out to the front of the stage in my socks. In
Uh-huh.
this scene, Martin Short meets Danny Glover for the
Yeah,
first time.
yeah,
I'll just leave it at that. And I
uh,
turn.
yeah, yeah. It'd be. I think it'd be something.
I think you're being hard on this movie.
Think so.
Now, what's the difference between an action movie and an adventure movie? Because I would definitely call this an adventure movie. But what is the difference? What are we talking about here?
With race of action and adventure, I think that people like a lot of times they're like, why is it action adventure? Or is adventure? I think adventure is kind of like going, kind of like normal people or something like going on a quest or going on. They go to exotic locations. They get into like dangerous situations. An action movie can just take place in like one town, like L.A. or New York or something, like shootouts, car chases, kind of thing. I think like there's some sort of like sense of discovery and like you're going on a journey or something with an adventure movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, adventure should be a little more globe-trotting. You could do an adventure in one town, but the each setting needs to be something a little more exotic.
Yeah,
Like
like
you can go to
the
the sewers or the library and the museum, and you're still in an adventure movie, even if it's in one town.
right. I think like Indiana Jones is an action adventure, but I wouldn't call like Lethal Weapon an adventure. I don't know, or like James Bond might be action adventure, but I wouldn't call Die Hard a adventure. I don't
Can't believe you didn't watch the debates tonight. I had like so many questions for you, and now I can't even ask them.
know. I'll probably catch up on them later, but I literally got off work like 20 minutes ago.
That's Biden's America. You work so
Yeah,
hard, you can't even watch the debates.
and watch debates, but I'm sure I'll see you later. I didn't think the DNC or the NRC they didn't have their conventions yet. Don't they usually nominate the person like right before that or after that? Like I didn't think they even. Usually, I thought the debates weren't even till like fall.
They have the second in September, I think.
Okay, yeah, they'll probably have another one like in October. Yeah, I didn't realize it was this early.
Yeah, I think they do it before. They do a big break in July for all the
Yeah,
government. So I think they get one in. It doesn't matter. We're not here to talk about politics, as you know. So, what did
as you
you think
know.
about what? Shut the fuck up. You need to shut the fuck up, Kenny.
See,
What did
that's your debate right there, political debate. Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! You're an idiot. Yeah, that's your insight.
this is?
Anyway, sorry, keep going.
This is supposed
I,
to be
I like
fun.
when you talk.
Are we? Are we good to move forward?
About what? The debates?
Jesus Christ, the podcast.
Podcast. Oh, what do we want to do next time? I think it's my
No,
turn to
shut
pick
the
here.
fuck up. God dang it. Kenny,
Why
what
did
did
you tell
you
me to
think?
shut the fuck
Would
up?
you quit
Wish we would have
talking? Would
this.
you quit talking for 5 seconds? Could
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
What did you think of Pure Luck? Did you leave? Well, I thought Pure Luck was a fine movie. As a buddy action comedy, I struggle to rate it high. So as a buddy action comedy, I'd probably give it a 2. As a comedy and just a normal movie, a 3. Kenny bailing on me probably has something to do with him drinking his fucking. It's probably because he's not drinking. So thank you all for listening. I'm sorry. This is the second time he's done this. and I will talk to him about his professionalism, because you never leave the stage. You never leave the stage. If anybody needs anything from me, my email address is, hold on, let me find it. My email address is Lucas